In today's news, Aaron Wan-Bissaka rumour, George Hall update as another Premier League club enters the race, Sasa Lukic interest has shifted, Azzedine Ounahi favoured by Leeds, and Pat Bamford injury update. Morning folks, welcome to The View. Jer here with your news on a wet but not as cold Monday morning on the 19th of December. I hope everyone's had a fantastic weekend and are ready to get going again this weekend. We've got one more game. The World Cup's over. We've got one more game against AS Roma on Friday before the season comes back with our match against Manchester City. And we'll crack on with some mostly transfer rumour stuff. Some of this is absolute out there, as well as some of it being very interesting and seeing where Leeds are lining up their ducks. So we'll start off with this, and we'll start off with the Aaron Wan-Bissaka rumour. And according to 90 Minutes, Leeds are interested in signing the Manchester United right back, who is out of favour, to say the least, at Manchester United right now, having played only 4 minutes this year. The 25-year-old could be available to move on a loan move. And according to 90 Minutes, Leeds are monitoring the situation, are interested in bringing the player to Leeds. Now, this, for me, is one of those out there rumours where, again, another player, another right back has been linked with Leeds in an area where Leeds are overstocked on players. So for me, I don't see this as being legitimate. I don't see any truth in this. This is the same as Chris Wood. I think this is a very busy agent trying to get his player and move, and linking him to Leeds has been easy for a lot of clubs over the last couple of seasons. He was excellent when he was at Crystal Palace, but having moved to Manchester United, another player that Manchester United have taken in with huge promise and absolutely destroyed. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Clearly a player who wants to leave Manchester United and go somewhere else. I don't see it happening with Leeds unless Cody Dramley leaves very early in the January window and Luke Ayling isn't up to par, along with Christensen and Jesse Marsh's eyes. I think it's an out there story. But we'll move on then. We'll talk about George Hall. And what's interesting here is, according to Ekrem Kanor on Twitter, Liverpool have now entered the race to sign the Birmingham City hotshot, as he'd been labelled. Leeds have been tipped widely over the last couple of weeks to sign the Birmingham City midfielder. And at one point last week were said by some other news outlets out there that the deal was all but done and imminent. We reported last week that it wasn't as clear cut as first seemed, and however it looks now like it might be more complicated again with Liverpool entering the race. Whether George Hall, who is looking to leave Birmingham because of lack of minutes, whether he goes to Liverpool or Leeds, both of them I would think he would struggle to get minutes in immediately as well. I think he'd have to work with their under 21 sides to get into their first teams, and it could be a longer pathway with Liverpool than it would be with Leeds. There's a lot of stuff there for George Hall to consider, and Leeds now have some serious competition to bring the player in. Talking to players coming into Leeds and some changes on this, and this is an interesting one. This is coming out of AS Roma Live. I've been reporting this, and this is kind of a double story. We'll start off with Sasa Lukic, and over the last couple of months, Leeds have been linked very, very heavily with a move for Lukic, and their only real competition was AS Roma. Jose Mourinho is a big fan of Lukic and has wanted to bring him in for a while. The player now wants to leave Torino, and it was looking at one stage like it would be Roma that he would head. Leeds entered the race, and according to AS Roma Live, Leeds were the front runners to sign the player. However, it would appear Leeds have shifted their focus away from Lukic and over to Azzedine Ounahi, the Moroccan midfielder who has shone at the World Cup. What AS Roma Live have said about the Ounahi one is that Leeds are moving towards signing the player with vehemence. So they're moving rapidly to try and get this deal done, a rush ahead of other people. There is always a danger with signing somebody who stands out at a World Cup. It has happened before with clubs during normal World Cup phases, where you buy a player who stands out at a World Cup and they just don't deliver at club level. So it can be a poison chalice sometimes to go after the hotshots of the people that stand out at a World Cup when they're not known entities. However, if they work out, Leeds could get a bargain with this player and could be, if he can replicate the form, could be a huge asset to add to Leeds midfield. So according to AS Roma Live, Leeds now look like they've moved away from Lukic, who now could be on his way to Roma in some sort of a swap deal, and moving towards signing Ounahi. Now, what's interesting about this one is that Radrizzani's thoughts on the players have been made very public over the last couple of weeks, when Victor Orta made it clear about text messages that Radrizzani had asked him about this player and why had Leeds not been scouting him and why had he not heard about this player beforehand. Victor Orta said he'd been looking at the player for about 2 years, but it's that slow process. We seem to identify these players, and we've done a great job of identifying players, but we've fallen down at getting them in, all of them in, at the right time. So it's going to be a tricky one. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks, but Leeds would want to move fast if they want to get Ounahi. But if they don't, you'd hope to go after Lukic as well. So still need a midfielder there if Matthias Klick is going to leave Leeds. And moving on then, talking really quickly just about Patrick Bamford and his injuries. And according to the Yorkshire Evening Post, there is major doubts that Bamford won't be available for the return to the Premier League and the game against Manchester City on the 28th. Jesse Marsh and Rob Price have been said to be monitoring the player's fitness and have been basically managing his workload to stop any reaction or reoccurrence of any injuries that he's had already this season. So this is no longer a plantar fascia issue that he had from last season. This is now managing the injuries he's picked up this year, of which there have been quite a few in different areas. He's recently had a groin operation. Didn't get back for a Sociedad game. We've got the Monaco game this week. You would imagine if he doesn't feature or in the squad for the Monaco game, then that pretty much rules him out being in the squad for the Manchester City game a week later with no sharpness. Bamford was hoping that the 6-week break or the 7-week break from the World Cup would give him a chance to get back up to speed for Premier League football and be ready to go into the second half of the season. He pretty much has missed the entirety with this injury, or at least the back end of it, and has missed all the games that he would need for that match sharpness. I think we're at a situation now where, as much as we all want Pat Bamford to be fit, it doesn't look like his body is going to take the pressure that the Premier League is going to keep throwing at him now. And it may be a time for Leeds to start to look at seriously moving on from Pat Bamford, unfortunately. And it's a shame to say that because I'm a massive fan of the guy. I want him back. I want him fit. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the moment. So that's where we are with that. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. Thanks for stopping by and thanks for watching the channel and subscribing and liking and all that stuff. I really appreciate it. Have a really good evening and I will see you again tomorrow morning with more Leeds news. Thanks. Bye.